much I want to make these videos anymore. I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel as compelled as I once did. And I'm realizing more and more how it's been a coping mechanism. Which is not at all a bad thing. But it was something that I have done to get energy out that I felt had no other outlet. And I didn't know how to sit with it, or maybe I just wanted to be seen. You know, I wanted to be seen. Whatever that means. I know absolutely there's ego in that, for sure. But it was also just a desire to be witnessed in my experiencing. And there was no one in my actual physical realm that I felt seen by, that I felt totally visible to, and wanted to be. I mean, I had been very used to this feeling of just not being understood. It became a story, it became a narrative that played out, that fulfilled itself, that affirmed itself, that I was not one who was understood. And that's nothing new. That's the tale as old as time. And what an identity that is there, of the lonely philosopher, the misunderstood, essentially. The deep feeling thinker who just sits back and watches and really wants a friend, wants to be seen, wants to be understood. But ego fights it because it's created a whole sense of self in this notion, this idea that, well, nobody understands me. And that makes it feel very special. It feels very special in that. Being ununderstandable, right? And I played that role for a really long time. A really, really long time. More than this lifetime, I think. And I'm just finally realizing it, and in accepting it, and accepting the satisfaction, the somewhat of a sense of satisfaction that gave me, certainly a sense of self, I'm acknowledging that I really would just like to put that down now. I've played that role. I've been the outcast, the outsider, the weird one, the whatever. And I got to feel very special in that. I played that game, and the results, the benefits of my playing that game were I got to feel a lot of things. I got to feel removed. I got to feel separate from. I got to feel noble in my suffering, in my loneliness. I got to feel a sense of superiority and elevation. All of that is true. But I've played that role for a long time. And the yearning for connection, true connection, really started, I mean, I guess it was 2 years ago now. I don't really keep track of time very well. But with the beginning of posting on this channel, which already existed, that was the yearning for connection, actually wanting to connect, wanting to be visible, wanting to be witnessed, and wanting to connect in a different way, in a way that was beyond ego, that was beyond the mind, that was beyond this physical realm, wanting to be seen at the soul level and to connect with others at the soul level and express earnestly from that place. And that's really the only point of any of this, is to express. It's so easy. It is so easy for ego and the mind to hijack this stuff. And it puts all this pressure on creating content, right? Producing something of value, something that has a clear message, something that somebody can use, something useful. And it says if I am not producing something like that, if that's not what's happening in one of these recordings, then it's not worthwhile. Then it's not worth sharing. And I beg to differ, because I am reminded that this is not only not for anyone else, it's not for anything. It's not for a reason. This doesn't have a reason. These videos, my speaking, my existence, because it goes all the way back to that. The mind and ego wants a reason for everything. It wants everything to be a means to an end. What end are we shooting for? What are we trying to achieve here? What result are we seeking to produce? That's what the brain turns everything into. Everything, including existing. Importantly, including existing. When the truth, the reality is, there is no grand scheme that is being enacted. The divine plan, it'll even co-opt something like that at the highest level. It's co-opted the idea. Well, first of all, the idea of the divine plan is different from the reality of the divine plan. The mind's idea, the concept of the divine plan is that we're achieving something, right? We're here, we're learning, we're growing, we're doing all this stuff so something can happen. So we can reunite with the Godhead. So light wins the day. That's a popular story. So buttons on your underwear. It's not any of that. The divine plan is reference to the natural order of things. It's not a plan that's being enacted to achieve something. It's just what is. It's just the way that it is. And the reality, the truth, is that there's nothing being achieved. It's just already, it just is what it is. The sun being the sun is not achieving anything. It's not achieving the shining of light. That's just what happens. That's what the sun does. It shines. Us being here as spirit that is manifest in this dimension, this physical reality, the natural result, the result of that is, we learn, we grow, but that's not achieving anything specifically either. That's just the natural result of life. The result of life is growth. And life is what we are. We can't not grow. That's the natural order. That's the divine plan. Everything grows. It's not for a reason. We're not growing to become something. We're already that thing. We just become more of that thing, again, naturally. There's no way not to. Really, really, if you're looking for a purpose, if you're looking for a reason, there is one reason that can be pointed to for anything. What is the reason for this existence? For all of this physical stuff, what is the reason for my incarnation? What's the reason for everything? And this is what the mind does not want to hear. It's not satisfied with this, but this is the only reason. Because we want to. Because it feels good. That's it. That's it. It is literally that simple. No, there is no war happening between the forces of this and that. That's all made up. That is all made up. Anything that is perceiving opposition and threat and danger is illusion. It's projected from the mind. Only the ego sees other and creates an opponent and says there's a problem, there's danger here. None of that is true. Everything that exists, including all the dark stuff, including all the false whatever stuff, it all came from the same source. It is all the same source. If it wasn't meant to be, it wouldn't be. It's that simple. If we didn't want it to be, it wouldn't be. So whatever bees is what we want. And it exists because we want it to. And we exist here having this physical experience as non-physical being because we want to, because we enjoy it. Why would we want anything? Again, the mind will say, well, we want it because it's achieving something. Nope. We don't want it because it's a means to an end. It's not a means to an end. It's the means and the end in itself. It is the end in itself. We want this because we want this. Because we want to experience it. Not because of what that's doing for us. What's it doing for us? Providing experience. What does that experience lead us to? More experience. It's just that. It's just that. It's all just because it feels good. That is the reason for existence. That's the reason for everything. But the mind is like a child continuously asking why, right? Well, this is it. This is where you say because. Why are we here? Because it feels good. Why is anything the way it is? Because it feels good. Why does it feel good? Because it feels good. It feels good to feel good. Because feeling good is our most natural, original state, sensation, and drive. That's what life is, because that's intrinsic to life. Being life and being alive, which is so much more than a physical form, being life feels good. And all of this is the continued expression of that. Life feels good. Life wants to know more about itself. There's curiosity there, but it wants to know more about itself because it wants to love itself. It wants to be able to appreciate more of itself because that feels good. So it's on this never-ending exploration of itself. Why? Because it wants to. It wants to know all of itself because it wants to be able to love all of itself. Because loving itself feels good. And it knows there is no end to itself. So it gets to just continuously do this forever. To express more, to know more, to love more, and accept and appreciate more. And be satisfied and delighted in all of that, and then continue that cycle. On and on and on and on. To greater degree of nuance and complexity and just that. There is nothing else going on here. There is nothing serious. There is nothing to fight for or against. It's all just what it is. This is all a reminder to myself. Because the ego that lives in me is really, really good at coming up with opposition and problem. And getting itself tangled in these knots. And it's experiencing a tremendous amount of death right now. A tremendous amount. Huge swaths of the self-concept are being shed. The entirety of what would be called my past in this lifetime is being discarded. Very rapidly, my life experience has shifted. I am finalizing the moving out of a place that I had lived for several years. That is a part of terminating the identity that I carried essentially from the beginning of this incarnation. More than that, even. I mean, it feels like more than that. This is a shedding of so many old selves. Identities of victimhood and loneliness. It's just all kinds of things. It's all kinds of things. The identity of being one that was very productive, too. Regardless, that's happening. And there's been so much emotion wrapped up in that, and none of that emotion is wrong. It's not wrong that there is sorrow and hard feelings experienced in conjunction with this massive transition. It's a death. It is a letting go of a lot of stuff, and it's been challenging. It's been really challenging. I've cried so much. I mean, especially in this past week. And I expect to cry more. I'm stepping out of a realm where I had obvious control. We have to sneeze. Excuse me. Interesting. That's something I couldn't control. That required surrender. That just happened. That's what I was talking about, or about to talk about. I'm moving from an environment and a way of being where it felt very safe because I had all the power. I had all the control. Living alone. Being alone. And now I am moving out of that environment into one where I am very much not alone. It's the opposite. In fact, it's companionship. And there's so much love there. And to ego into that identity, it's very, very, very scary. And it has been powerfully resisting it. And there's all kinds of stuff, physical stuff, that I am letting go of. And importantly, the most challenging one is including, and this one's gonna get me, because it's tough. My cat. I've known deep inside for a while that he wasn't going to be able to come with me. And there's been a lot of resistance because of that. Because I love him. And he's my little buddy. He has been my companion through that period, especially of being totally alone. But it just doesn't, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it's become more and more clear that it's time for us to part ways. It's time. He's gonna go with, I'm hoping, I'm expecting, because I know this is what she wants with my ex. He's gonna go with her. And it's a part of concluding that whole era, that whole cycle, our time together. This was our cat. And I had time alone with him. And it's time for him to go with her, and for them to move forward together. You know, he provided that companionship to me, and now it's time for him to do that for her. And it's this mix. It's just been this mix of emotions, of deep sadness and a lot of resistance from ego, from the mind, and then all this excitement and a lot of peace in there too. I mean, with all the anxiety and everything else, there's all this peace that's absolutely there, and satisfaction and eagerness for this all to be happening the way that it is. There's a part of me that is pushing against it, and there's a part of me that's inviting it. And I just want to witness both of those parts of myself and acknowledge that they're there and accept that they're there. But that is what's happening. Life is moving on. It's moving forward. It's taking a beautiful course, the course that I desire, that I know is mine. And it's not complicated. It's so very simple. It's just the path of love. That's it. That's all it is. That is my path. It's everybody's path. but I know it, I see it clearly. This transformation, this transition, which I know is never the final one. We're continuously evolving and shifting. But this is a closing out in a big way. And this kind of massive shift, I'm fortunate to be able to participate, to have the opportunity to allow this. And I know it's a deepening of connection with self and embodiment of self. And I'm really, really happy for it. With all the stuff here that's challenging, I'm excited. I'm excited for the challenge. I'm excited that I don't know what the future holds other than love. I know that it holds that. Only more of that. Only a bigger version, an expanded experience. That's my true desire. That is the desire of myself. There's really nothing else there. All myself has ever wanted is to know love, to experience the fullness of unconditional love, giving and receiving it. Every dimension of that, knowing that it is continuous, it never stops, knowing that there is no bottom to it, no end to the depth. It just gets deeper. It gets broader. There's just more of it to explore. And that's all I've ever desired, truly. The self that I am is to explore and experience love in its fullest form, infinite dimension. And that's what I have. That's what I'm doing. That deep yearning and the recognition, the conscious recognition of that desire. I know it started long before 2 years ago, but it came fully into conscious awareness about 2 years ago. And it's here. I asked for that. I asked for connection. I asked for that experience, to know it, and I couldn't not believe it. I have believed it. I believe it. There have been moments, of course there are moments when the mind, many moments, when the mind steps in front and questions and obscures, but it doesn't stop the belief. It pinches it, and when it pinches it off, it hurts. When there are thoughts going that are against my desire, it's painful. And it pushes me again and again to realign with that belief, realign my thinking and my belief with my desire. And that has brought this. That has brought this. The reality that is union. union with myself, union with... There are words for it. I could use the words that other people have spoken. What I asked for was the match to my energy. I just wanted the perfect match to my energy. The counterpart. And I believed that I couldn't want that. I couldn't ask for that if that didn't exist. Because I knew it did. And she just sent me a text right now. Affirming all of that for me. Not that I even needed it, but I'm grateful for it because it feels so good. And now all I want is to live this life experience in connection. I'm done with separation. It's not a bad thing. And there will be continued experience. As long as I am in this physical form, I will continue to experience the sensation of separation in varying degrees. But this is forever. I now understand what it means when they talk about why marriage is holy. Because it's of the higher realm. It is an energetic marriage. And why that's eternal. Why there's no divorcing. Because you are married to your counterpart. There is no better there's no better match than this. And you are continuously choosing one another. You are recognizing that in each other. All of what is recognizing that in you. And saying, yes, these two components belong together, want to be together. That's a part of why they belong together. And so they are married. They are given to each other, not just now, but forever. Because they are the best match for each other. They are so perfectly matched. Because they were made together. Anyway. This is a ramble because I feel like rambling because there's no point to this. It's just expression. And expression for expression's sake feels good. That's it. There's no message here. This is just me talking. There's a lot going on. The world is shifting. Ascension is happening, yes, all of that stuff. It was never not happening. It's always been happening. And all that means is we're becoming more and more clear. That's it. We're becoming more aware. We're seeing reality more clearly. We're experiencing it more directly. And the more directly we experience reality, the more bliss we're allowing in. It's just a continued process of that. That doesn't mean there's not contrast. That doesn't mean there's not pain. It is not an escape from pain. Pain is not a thing that needs to be escaped. It's not a problem. When we stop perceiving pain as a problem, we stop suffering in it. We start enjoying the experience of all sensation. Am I a master at that? Fuck no. No, I am not. I suffer all the time. I put myself in resistance all the time. But you know what? I'm starting to accept that that's a part of the pleasure too. And that there's nothing bad there. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing is going wrong. I am safe. I am allowed to create some suffering for myself. The more that I do, the more it pushes me to release it, to release resistance. So again, it's always serving this highest intention to release suffering, even suffering is serving the release of suffering. It can't not. Again, it can't not. So you can't get it wrong. You can't fuck it up. There is no harm in anything. You're safe to feel it all, to experience it all. And we're just doing it to have fun. That's it. Big change is happening. I think everybody knows that. There's nothing here special. It's nothing special to say, nothing particularly important. There's nothing that important. It's just life. It's just experience. It's just sensation. It's nothing dangerous. You can't screw it up. You can't get it wrong. You can't fall off the path. There are no forces of darkness threatening us. I'm only mentioning that because I've seen some things about that recently with the eclipse and NASA and CERN and what have you. It's all good. It's all good. Really, truly. Anyway. There's only one path to happiness. That is choosing it right now. There's only one time to be happy. Right now. There's only one way. Deciding to release everything else. Deciding to release the unhappiness. Deciding to release all the things you think you're unhappy about, all the things that seem like problems, that we're pushing against, that we're judging or calling bad or whatever. It's just deciding to let go of all of that stuff, and then joy is here. It's always here. It's never gone. Joy and the present moment are one. And so the only path to joy is embracing the present moment and everything that it contains, no longer fighting against it, and just doing that again and again and again. Because the second you stop embracing the moment and you are pushing against it, and then you don't feel the joy anymore, well, that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't go anywhere. Just because it's covered up doesn't mean it's gone. You can always just come back again. Come back to joy. Come back to peace. It's always here. It is home. And it's never leaving. And you can't ever actually get that far from it, even if you feel like you are. And I know it can feel like you are as far from joy and peace as anybody has ever been. I get that. But even in all of that, it's still right here. And you're safe in departing from it. Or thinking you've departed from it. You're safe to push against it. You're safe to feel other than joy. That doesn't keep you from feeling it again. It's always right here. It's always waiting for you. And so we just keep remembering, we keep practicing ourselves into this place of knowing, realizing, if I want to feel good again, and I've spent some time maybe not feeling good, and that's pushed me to want to feel good, because maybe all this feeling good, I wanted to feel something else. So I did that for a while, and now I've felt a lot of something else, and I'd like to feel good again. So, how do I do that? I just choose to put all of it down. I choose to be happy now, to feel happy now. I realize that nothing is preventing me from that I have been creating excuses as to why I'm not happy now, why I don't feel good now. Things that I think need to happen before I can feel good, those are just excuses. And they're going to keep putting off my happiness. So what I can do actually is just circumvent all of that. I don't need any of that to happen. I can just choose to be happy now. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to wait to feel good. I'm not going to put off my feeling good. And then I remember, joy is right here. It's right here for me. This is the only place it is. My joy happens now, and it only ever happens now, not later, not back then, right now. Now is when my joy happens. And so I just pick it up, put the other stuff down, and joy rises up within me. And there it is. And I can choose that whenever I feel like it, again and again and again. And as many times as I choose it, I can choose to put it down and go somewhere else, but I know it's always here. So if I put joy down 1,000 times, I'm going to pick it up 1,001. It's all good. It's all really, really good. Even when it hurts, it's still good. It's not a problem. Doesn't mean anything has gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong, nor can it ever, possibly. I think that's all I have to ramble about right now. There's still lots of resistance in me. That's okay. I have to do stuff at the condo. I have to get my shit out of there. I have to pack things, and I have to give things away and sort through stuff. And big parts of me really don't want to do that. But there are those same parts of me that are really enjoying not wanting to do that. They're really enjoying the experience of seething against something, the experience of feeling overwhelmed, the experience of going, I just fucking hate this. Parts of me are really liking that. They're really enjoying that. So it's all good. It's still all working out for me. And I have the power at any moment to just appreciate and accept. If I can't appreciate, I can accept that this is happening. What is. And I can just focus on the what and nothing else. Stop giving it any other definition, no story, just strip all of that away. What is happening? The bare bones of it. And then say, yes, this is happening. I see this. I acknowledge this. I accept that this is happening. I cannot disagree. I can't argue that this is what is. And in my acceptance of the pure truth of what is, there's peace. Anyway, I hope this eclipse is treating you well. It certainly is, all of us, whatever it's doing. There's a lot of stuff being removed. There's a lot of change happening. We just let it. Just let it. Just keep surrendering. That's it. Over and over and over. There's not an end to surrendering. We don't finally reach the last piece and go, oh, I've surrendered it all. Nope, that's not it. We just keep surrendering again and again and again. Why? Because it feels good. And that's the only reason for anything. I love you. Take it easy.